Everybody, this is Bo back in the lounge. Want to say hello to our 1.5 million listeners all over this great world. Thank you so much. And right now, we're going to get a chance to have a one-on-one conversation with Tim, the Barbarian Boetsch. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing very good. How about yourself?
Awesome. Thank you so much. Tim, you've been on a whirlwind ever since the IFL. It's got to feel pretty good to be the big draw this weekend.
Yeah, I'm glad just to be back in the cage. It's been about 5 months since my last fight, so it's a little bit longer than I like to wait. But I've done some good training between then and now, and I'm ready to rumble. So it's going to be fun.
What was the biggest thing you learned in your previous fights in the UFC that you can now carry over to fight Stark?
It's just about the training and the preparation, and then carrying that intensity over into the fight. It's if you've done all the work that you're supposed to, the fight should be the easy part. So I'm going into this weekend excited and ready to do work.
You know, we look back upon your earlier career where people were looking for Tim Boetsch. Now your name is synonymous in the UFC for that awesome match. You've had some, obviously challenges there, but you go to the King of the Cage, and you're the main guy that everybody's looking at. It's got to feel pretty good after all the hard work you put over at Lock Haven and now coming full circle.
Absolutely. It's great to be the main event, and got a lot of support out here, and I know it's going to be a great show. So I'm very excited about doing it.
Now, Tim, leading up to the fight, how do you exactly prepare yourself?
Well, I've actually been out here in Washington for 3 weeks now. I came out, I've started training with Matt Hume out here at AMC. So this is kind of my new base camp for my fights. So I came out here, I've been training real hard, and, just picking up a lot of new techniques and some new philosophies on the sport that, I hadn't even really thought about before. Matt Hume, he's very innovative and has a bunch of, different outlooks on MMA than a lot of schools do, and it's really good stuff. So I'm glad I can be a part of that. But just implementing his training philosophies and techniques and carrying that over into my fight, I'm real excited to get back in action.
Well, you took some time off to go, if I'm not mistaken, you went on the outback of the USA to Canada to do some relaxing. What was that all about?
Yeah, I take a trip up to Canada. I go up there once or twice a year. We go fishing and, carp shooting and all kinds of stuff up there. So, I'm pretty outdoorsy, love doing all kinds of stuff in the outdoors. And that's just one of the things that, I make a ritual every year is to get up to Canada and just relax and fish and take it easy.
Yeah, and you definitely look like you should be on some gun show. Yeah, luckily enough, there's pictures on the internet with you in your camouflage. You look pretty good in those outfits.
Yeah, I feel at home in camo. I spend pretty much the entire fall wearing some sort of camouflage, stalking some kind of animal here or there. So, yeah, I'm definitely at home in camo and with a gun or bow or whatever it may be.
Now, speaking of tracking prey, right now you've had a chance to look at Stark. What are kind of items that is known that you're going to start exploiting or taking your time with?
Well, from what I've seen, and, my good friend Mike Sesnilevich actually fought Aaron Stark in the IFL and choked him out. But, Mike explained to me that the guy really doesn't like to stand and exchange on our feet. And, just looking at his fights and what he's done in the past, that really shows, he likes to take the fight to the ground, really pressure his opponent, try and make them to make a mistake, and then he'll capitalize with, a submission attempt of some sort. So, that's kind of the game plan we're going with. We're looking at his strengths and what I need to, overcome them or avoid them, and then just to implement my strengths, which I feel is, I've got the punching power and better striking technique, so I'm definitely going to try and utilize those things.
Well, Tim, I think the other thing going for you is a lot of us who've seen you fight who do not know, you're pretty good at submission, you're pretty good at grappling, you were pretty good at NAGA and in college. Do you have a lot of people that come up that do not know your background, are kind of shocked when they find out you were as successful as you were as a D1 wrestler?
Oh, absolutely. If people just look me up on SureDog or whatever and see that, of the 8 fights I won, that 6 of them were by striking, they figure I have some sort of kickboxing background or something along those lines, when in fact I just recently started doing those things, in the past couple of years. whereas I've been a wrestler my entire life. So, yeah, that for people who don't know, they think I'm a striker.
Yeah, you've had a very successful outing in the UFC. The UFC is always dropping and hooking people up nonstop. With King of the Cage out there, it's a nice avenue to have that's very visible.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why when I got the call and asked if I wanted to do it, I jumped all over it right away, just because I respect King of the Cage and what they do, and then they definitely have a very good promotion, and their media distribution is fantastic, and I'm glad I can be a part of it.
It had to feel pretty good after the Matt Hamill to go right after Mike and take care of that. And then everybody hates a unanimous decision because you put your heart and soul into it, trying to control it, and it comes down to some panelists making a decision.
Yeah, that last fight, I definitely know that was subpar for me, and I can understand the judge's decision on that, but I don't really understand the UFC's decision to let me go after that fight, because I felt like you said, I had been putting my heart and soul into the other fights and the training and everything else, and to just get let go is kind of a bummer. But I'm moving on and definitely looking towards the future. I've put all that behind me now, and I'm ready to start climbing back up the ladder.
Yeah, and I think as you develop a bigger fan base, because you've already got a lot of fans, I'm sure you're definitely recognizable. I mean, you don't look like the average Joe when you walk into places, but I think as your career grows, I think with the losses, it's not going to matter as much in the UFC. They're going to look at the fan followership and who's going to buy the tickets, and I know you've got a lot of fans all over the place. We hear about it all the time.
Absolutely, yeah. That's one of the things I really appreciative of, is that fan support that I do get, and people online and on all the websites and forums, usually have positive things to say. There's always some naysayers here and there, but that's all right. That's part of life. But definitely appreciate the fan support, and without the fans, we wouldn't be able to be professional fighters. So I definitely appreciate them.
Well, yeah, and it's the fact of the people that you hang out with. I mean, the individuals you train with, the blood and sweat, the localized areas you get a chance to socialize your buddies with is pretty top-notch. Mike Sesnilevich right now out there, Roy Markham, obviously Rocky Bonomo is well-known, Kip Kohler's known among everybody. You just associate with some of the best people in the business.
Well, that's one of the things, my college coach, Rocky, and Coach Carl Poff, who started me at Lock Haven there. That was one of the things they really drove into us, and it was, surround yourself with positive people, and positive things are bound to happen. And, I believe that to be 100% true. And, with my training partners and coaches and everything, they're all positive influences on my life and my career as a fighter. So, I can only move up with and become better with the relationships that I've made and will make in the future.
Now, enough with this really quickly here. We're going to jump right back into the fight for you, so we're going to change ships.
Okay.
When you step into the ring and you look across at Aaron Stark, what is the specific game plan you have? You already talked about the fact that he likes to submission or likes to stretch out a fight. You've been burned on stretching out a fight, and I'm assuming you're going to go right after him. But I'm not you. What's your game plan to start off with this guy? You've definitely got the punching power. He may have the punching power. He's more of a submission guy. Is that where you're going to be able to gamble with him?
Well, I don't like to gamble, so I'm going to go in there and I'm going to put pressure on him from the get-go. I'm going to stand with him and trade. I'm going to fend off the takedowns. I'm going to throw down hard, and I'm just going to keep the pressure on him the whole fight. And if I'm able to do that, there's no way that it's going to go the distance. So that being said, I see me finishing Aaron Stark probably in the second round.
Yeah, I would have to say, because I've seen video footages, obviously, of you over the last several years, and then obviously Aaron Stark we got to see a little bit in the IFL, and then throughout the other different fighting leagues that are out there. There's a big weekend right now. The 15th looks like you've got major leagues all over the place getting set to showdown, and you're the big ticket out there. I really do appreciate the time, Tim.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Bo. I really appreciate talking to you.
Absolutely. Tim Boetsch, the Barbarian. He is going to be back in the UFC after he finishes up King of the Cage. Thanks a lot, sir.
All right. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. One moment, please.